Hookah chaka, hookah, hookah, hookah chaka, hookah, hookah, hookah chaka, hookah, hookah, hookah chaka, hookah, hookah. I can't stop this feeling deep inside of me. Girl, you just don't realize what you do to me.
Ladies and gentlemen, after the longest absence in known history for a talk show in existence, Mid-Tier Mayhem is back.
I'm hooked on a feeling, I'm high on believing that you're in love with me.
With your host and collaborative host, Take a Chance and Jimmy Potato, the little guy. We are back to discuss the most prominent issues in the fighting game community, to discuss everything that's on the mid-tier's mind, and to be the one unbiased source of podcast entertainment. What's up, Jimmy?
That was good. Not too much, man. It's good to be back. It's good to be back. It's been a while.
You having a stoic? I thought I heard an exhale.
Yes, I'm having a little bit of a stoke, a little bit nervous. It's been a while. We haven't done a show in a long time.
It's kind of hype, man. Get those jitters out.
Yeah, first, right off the top, I want to apologize to GGA Saucy Jack. We were 100% planning to have him as the next guest and have him be on the show, the next episode of the show, but we're just the most horrible fucking planners in the world, and sometimes life gets in the way. We still want to have him as a guest, so if you're listening,
Absolutely.
Saucy, 100%. And the topic of that show was going to be loyalty, like character loyalty, and if you pick one character and you're going to stick with that one character and you're a tournament player, what does that do to you as a tournament player? What are your goals? Do you actually want to win a tournament? And it was going to go into kind of how MLG played out in the grand finals and stuff like that. So really hoping to still do that show, because Saucy Jack is a really cool guy, and he was really excited about doing it. So sorry about that, guys. This is going to be an entirely different show. Why don't you tell them a little bit of what we're going to talk about here, Chancey? Oh, actually, number one, we should talk about where the number 3 is CharlieMurphy.
Ah, yes. Sir Murph's a lot. Charlie Holtz, as I described him in the Ice Bucket Challenge.
That hesitation.
He's actually in suspended animation.
Yeah.
He's actually frozen himself. He's waiting until MKX. He's
literally frozen himself.
He's in suspended animation. He's not ready to come back on until we talk about MKX, and he is that hype about that game that he literally does not want to talk about anything else but MKX. We just don't have enough details about that game yet to actually do a show about it. We could talk about it, we just can't devote a show to it.
We might talk a little bit at the end.
Oh, absolutely.
We'll see how long we run.
How do you not, right?
We wanted to do a whole show on it, but
Ed Boon decides to release information character by character, so we have to...
Once Katana is revealed, fucking show. Boom, done. Which brings us to the topic of this month's show, game-life balance. How do you try to stay a top competitor? How do you try to get to a top competitive stance, but still have a life, still keep a wife or keep a girlfriend or get your schooling done, and still try to be a part of the community, learn the game, and have fun while doing it. I think it's a great topic, and I don't think a lot of people talk about it that much. You always see status updates from people like, man, I miss playing, but I got 2 finals tomorrow, I got to do this, I got to do that. And lots of times you see guys just going, yeah, fuck that studying, I'm going to play, Injustice, or I'm going to play MK, or I'm going to play KI. Or
Absolutely.
So, let's just bounce it off each other. How do you balance what you do gaming-wise to your life? You got a little boy, you've got a wife, you work your butt off. What kind of, do you have rules in place where you go, okay, well, every day I can allot myself this much time, to learning a game to getting into it, and then, I got to allot this much time to my family? Like, how do you go about doing it?
Well, the best way to answer that question is to just kind of go back in time a little bit here. Let's go all the way back to when MK9 dropped.
Right.
MK9 dropped. Okay, I had a wife. We were married. We were still going to school, so we were doing university and our teaching certification.
You were actually living in the States.
Yes, we were. We were living in the States. We were living in Maine. And the idea of Mortal Monday came up. And here I am during my studies, playing the game for hours, getting mad at the game, throwing sticks in rage, because we all know how the online was at MK9. Putting together Mortal Monday, organizing that team, going to the school every weekend for probably about 3 months straight to upload content. So Saturday and Sunday, I spent on campus uploading files after spending 3 nights editing them together. That was for MK9. That was a lot of time, and unfortunately, I shouldn't say unfortunately. Fortunately, we put together 5 fantastic episodes of Mortal Monday, and that's not including the Royal Rumble.
And if nobody's ever seen that, you can I'm pretty sure you can still just YouTube search it.
Oh, it's still got thousands.
We had some great matches. If you ever want to check it out, all online,
it's amazing.
All online,
amazing.
So.
And the thing about Mortal Monday is, before Mortal Monday, there was nothing like it. And after Mortal Monday, there was nothing like it. There has still been nothing like the community support, the general atmosphere, and the collaboration between everybody in the community when MK9 dropped, and just the collective atmosphere that was there to do that game. And to get back on track here, the time commitment then was much easier to do because everyone was so positive. No one was scrutinizing your every move. No one was telling you after you played a 50-game set and got bodied 45-5 that you were such a terrible player and I can never play you again. You're not in my league.
Right.
Everyone was hosting online tournaments every second day, every week, playing each other and getting better, and then they would go and play offline.
Yeah.
It was amazing, and that collaboration has not been seen throughout the whole Injustice tenure. And the time management for, I know, a lot of people, even in the high tier, like the guys that are training a lot more than, we'll say, the mid tier, has gotten less and less. Because the thing is that the guys that are trying to train for tournaments are only training with other guys that are training for tournaments, and that's fine. I understand that 100%. But when I'm sitting here in the mid tier, and I have now, this is past Mortal Monday, I have my son, I have my wife, I have my job, I have my second job, I have my
your mortgage,
my mortgage, my extracurricular activities. It's hard to find the time to get on the level that these guys require you to play,
even to stay on a mid-tier level where you expect yourself to at least be at a level where you can compete with, let's say, 80% of the people out there.
Absolutely. It's become hard for a guy like me and even a guy like you, Jim, because you're in the same boat. You work all the time.
Dude. Yeah.
It's hard for guys like us, to be even in that same tier, which is fine because I love being mid-tier. I love being able to take the game at face value, play it for fun. I know that I'm better than a casual player. Know that I'm better than a guy that just picked up the game. Know that I have more fundamentals than your average player. But I'm not ready to go to a tournament and place top 8. I'm ready. I'm ready to consider traveling to tournaments, but the only reason why I would ever travel to an Injustice tournament, and this is not a knock on the game, it's a knock on the current community, is because I'd want to hang out with the guys that I'd want to hang out with. And unfortunately, now it's more toxic than it's ever been. MK9,
these are tumultuous times.
I would travel in MK9 to the farthest reaches of North America to a tournament if I knew it was going to be a good time and my buds were there. I would not care where I placed. It wasn't about where I placed. It was about the community. It was about celebrating Mortal Kombat, the rejuvenation of the game. Yeah. And we've lost that spirit. That spirit is gone. It's dead.
it's dead and gone and not even like I don't even think it's remembered, man. Like
So
things have happened, but let's stay on track because that could be a whole other show, man.
To tie that back to the game life balance, it's way back when we were doing Immortal Monday. It was a lot easier to invest more time into game.
I see what you're saying.
And now that it's so toxic, it's not worth it. It's not worth it at all. Yeah. So I invest more time into life because to me, I'm getting more enjoyment out of my family, out of my kids, out of my job, out of my work.
Right.
And I don't feel that camaraderie that would draw me back into the scene to be as active as I would have.
Do you remember when it used to be like an us versus them type of mentality, like in a good way? Like it would be like, yeah, man, we're all the NRS guys, and we're just trying to put a big ass boot stomp foot and make our mark on tournaments, and we're trying to be seen. We're trying to get stream time.
Oh, absolutely.
I loved that, man, because that's when you had your great personalities coming out doing their best stuff, and
it wasn't
really like,
it wasn't
I miss that shit.
It wasn't East West. It wasn't GTA.
Exactly.
Atlanta.
It was never East West shit, man. I used to love that.
It was NRS. Mm-hmm. It wasn't until the dying stages of Mortal Kombat and the birth of Injustice that became scene to scene.
And a couple Evos which were pretty hyped up and crazy and had some great results and some absolutely awesome matches.
Back in MK9's heyday, it wasn't about where you were from or how good you were. It was about you coming out and coming to the tournament.
And oh man, 100! You just hit a huge point for me, and the whole reason why I still post on TYM, why I still love playing fighting games, why I still love talking to people that love the games as much as I do, man. Like. That's huge, yeah. That's
now,
100%, man.
If I'm a Nightwing player, I upplay, downplay, and you know, if I don't get top 8, I'm a fraud. And to me, as a mid-tier player, as a guy who doesn't invest 9 hours a day in training, I don't care about placing top 8. Like, if I go 2-2, I'm happy.
But you still want to play the game.
Exactly. The atmosphere isn't welcoming to a guy like that anymore.
You still want to have a community to bounce ideas off of. Have a way that you can just show shit. Just be like, yo, I think check this out. Like, let's talk about this. What's up with this? Is this something that's usable? And it's become to a point where guys, I bet you there's like a ton of people that want to be able to like do that. Make some videos, show some shit, but they totally don't feel like they're
afraid.
Yeah,
because tournaments have turned into a way to prove that you're worth posting. Yeah, it's like if you don't get top 8, you don't get to post anything.
Yeah, why are you even posting? I'm gonna fucking block you. You're giving me AIDS or whatever, right? Like AIDS is funny. But like it's hard. It's got to be hard for everybody else because I know it's hard for me as well. Like right off the bat on Injustice, I put a lot of work into Arrow, and I was working on them hard. I put the fucking thread up about how to blow up D1 Arrow because everybody was getting eaten up by it. And I'm watching these tournaments, and I've spent the money to go to Chicago for UFGT because I had heard it was great, and it was great. I had such a great time in that tournament. It was awesome. And I still got away with D1 Arrow all day, but that's how the game develops, meta and all that shit like that. But I wasn't afraid back then because we were just coming off MK9. I wasn't afraid to write a post up about, hey guys, here's how you beat this. Here's how you beat the character that I play.
Well, you were one of the first people.
Shit. Let's go, guys! Right?
You were one of the first people that came forward and said Green Arrow versus Bane is awful.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, no, man, Green Arrow does fine.
I got shit on for everything, man.
He's top tier.
Me and Costner. Shoutouts to Costner.
Yeah.
He made me proud.
And the thing is that now the Nightwing community is going through the same thing that the Green Arrow community went through. Where the Green Arrow community is saying, guys, Green Arrow is not as good as you think he is. He has holes.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, no. Chris G wins with Green Arrow. He's top tier.
Yeah, see, I was just going to say that, dude, that's the number one big difference. There was no Chris G playing playing Nightwing.
No.
You know, you had Chris G playing this character that if you weren't good at fighting games and had fundamentals like being able to fucking block high-low by pushing back and down or down back, you were getting blown up, and that was fucking injustice for the first 6 months.
Yep.
And then if you said anything different, you got shit on.
Yep.
Whereas before, you never got shit on, and that's 100% after I went to UFGT why I dropped the game, because it was like nobody wanted to learn, and everybody seemed to just a step behind. I know that sounds like a fucking dick thing to say, but I felt everybody was way behind, because then 6 months later, everybody was saying the same shit I was saying. You know?
Yeah, but that's because
Arrow's got problems. You know, Arrow's got some serious fucking issues. You know, besides like 3 to 4 guys who totally fucking agreed with me. You know.
But hey,
and that made it opinion, like that made it to me.
But your opinion didn't matter because you were the little guy.
No. Well, exactly. And I didn't get out of pools at UFGT, and the only reason I didn't was because Han kicked my ass with Black Adam, and I didn't have a backup plan. I was going to play Arrow all the way, and in my pool, the only 2 matches I lost were to GGA Han.
What did you get to? Like winners finals?
I was losers finals. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was losers finals.
So
and Han got out.
You were 1 win away of getting out of pools against a pre-patch.
Pretty sure. I'd have to look back. Either I was 1 win away from losers finals, or I was losers finals. I don't even remember because I didn't even fucking ask, because I was having so much fucking fun playing that it was just, I didn't even give a shit. I got on a little bit of a roll. I beat an Aquaman, which was fucking crazy. I beat a Sinestro and a couple Green Lanterns, and I was just having such a good time, and it was such a fun tournament that I didn't even give a shit about that shit. But after that, I just sat there and I watched how kind of everything unfolded after, and and what everybody was saying about, you know, tier placings and what characters were what, and I was just done with it. Like, I didn't want to put in the time anymore, you know. I didn't have the drive to put in the time anymore when people didn't seem to be putting in the time either. You know, like, you could post something about something and people would just either try to tear you down, tear you apart, or just totally just be like, well, fuck, who the fuck are you? It doesn't even fucking matter, right?
There's
that's honestly why I dropped the game.
Yeah, there's so much hostility of someone, like, you have to remember that the atmosphere right now in our community is, if you stick your neck out, you better know what you're talking about, or it's getting cut off.
Oh yeah, you're gonna get shit on, cut off. Yeah, you're gonna fucking put on a stake.
How does that welcome a new player into the scene that's just picked up Green Arrow?
Yeah. And
is saying, you know, guys, look, I think he's better than mid-tier. Here's why. Yeah. And then they have 15 people in the thread going, nah, you're a scrub.
He'll never say it. Yeah, yeah. And you know what? That's a great thing to say, because do you ever look at, like, who's online on that site? There's always more guests or random lurkers than there are actual members. Absolutely. So there is a ton of people out there wanting to say something, but just thinking, man, nah, because, you know, what if I do go to a tournament and I do good? Then they'll all bring it back and they'll remember and they'll quote my post from fucking 6 months ago where I said this, and that'll make what I know and what I can do now fucking totally, you know, shitty. It's fucking nuts, man. But, like, we totally just sidetracked there. I really want to get back on the topic of now, like, Canada Cup they're bringing it back. They weren't going to bring it back. Lap Chi was not going to do it.
What's your training regimen for Canada Cup? Like,
exactly,
I'm
100%. I'm putting something together right now where we don't have basically a scene here, but I have a great player. I have a couple of great players here that I can play with actually in my city that can come. We can play offline. And Bipolar Express lives here. He's a really, really good player. Anybody that's ever played him, online or offline, will be able to say that. Yeah, fucking Bane train. Shoutouts to Bipolar. He's like he's gonna be the training partner that we're both gonna play. We're both gonna push each other, and we're gonna try to defend the town. You know what I mean? Like, we're gonna do our best, and we're also both gonna be putting together a side MK9 tourney He just wants to learn the game. He loves it. He thinks MK9 looks really cool. But so basically now, before I had dropped Injustice, I had my third kid Jax in July of last year, and that was after UFGT and all that shit. And then it became a little bit hard to actually train and stuff like that. But the kids are a little bit older now. I can actually piece together some time. And actually trying to find a good balance where I don't burn myself out before the tournament, but really wanting to catch up with the game, because I haven't played it competitively in basically a fucking year and a bit.
So what games are you playing at Canada Cup?
I'll be playing BlazBlue, and I'll be playing Injustice. I'll be playing Unil, the Underbirth game. I'm going to be playing that. And I might play Street Fighter. I don't know. I like to pop monster that game and I have fun. And I'll play in the MK9 side tournament. So,
how do you expect to do an MK9 after being away from it for so long?
I expect to do okay, because I actually have been playing that game a lot online lately.
You going in with Kitty?
Dude, man, I don't play anybody else. I don't even know anybody else's moves.
If I were going to Canada Cup right now, I wouldn't go with Jade. I'd have a new main.
Of course you would. You play Johnny Cage because you're a bitch like that.
It wouldn't be Cage. Damn, secret main.
If you're going to Canada Cup, you got balls up on that one. But so basically, some of the things I've been thinking of is, okay, well, how do I not burn myself out? How do I still work enough to make enough money to do the things that I want to do, take care of my family, all that shit, but still get to a level where I want to get to, and still try to train online and offline, and find time to do it all. That's a difficult thing to try to piece together.
I think that you kind of have to take a reality, check and understand that the players that do consistently make, top 8 or are seeded are guys that really do sit there and train. They are guys that grind at every matchup. They understand what every character is going to do against them, and they develop counter strategies against that. They grind this shit out. And if you're going to sit there and you're going to do this casually, or you're going to do this like an hour a night, or every second night, or just on the weekends, your expectations of making a top 8 placement should probably be lowered. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just you have to assess where you're at in your personal situation, and you have to say, okay, do I want to travel this tournament to make top 8, or do I want to travel to this tournament to have the best experience that I've had in a long time? Because tournaments are much more than the placings, and I think a lot of the members have forgotten that. Tournaments are about camaraderie. Tournaments are about being there with other people that are there for the same reasons as you, that understand why you just spent hundreds of dollars to go play that game.
Right. 100%. It's not a fucking popularity contest.
No, you're sitting there in a room, a big, giant, sweaty, gross room with 1,200 other people that are there for the exact same reason as you and understand exactly why you're there. Because a lot of us who do this, when we tell people what we do or why we have this as a hobby, they kind of look at you like you're crazy, or they look at you, with scrutiny. And it's like, nah, that's just my hobby. I'm a competitive dude. I get, my jollies off by seeing if I'm better than the other guy pressing the buttons. That's fun for me.
And that's what it comes down to. That's 100% what it's about. You want to see if you're just better than the other guy.
Yeah, and if you're not, it's not like you have anything to be ashamed of. It's just something to strive for. You just know where you're at.
Exactly,
but
and
now,
nobody should ever feel like...
No.
Sorry, go ahead.
There's no exhibition matches anymore. Because everyone now is scared to lose. They're scared to lose their right to have a voice.
Yeah.
Which is silly.
It sucks that it seems that the community is by and large 90% of the competitive community
is amazing.
Is on TYM.
Yeah. And 90% of them are good people. And
I would say more than 90% of them, man. I love a shit ton of people on that website. I wouldn't go to the website and talk with people and go through threads and read threads upon threads if I didn't love a shitload of people on that website. I think there's so many smart players on there. I think there's so many people that are gonna fucking break out and shine in MKX. I think we're at such a fucking crossroads right now as an NRS community that it's important right now to try to fucking keep the ship afloat and try to keep things going, which is one of the reasons I wanted to make sure we did this show tonight, to just keep things going in a way that it's about the game, it's about the competition, it's not about bullshit, it's not about stupid shit that doesn't even in the end fucking matter, you know? No. It's not about personalities, it's not about, you know, it's not about top 8 placings, well it is, but that's like, man, I'm a fucking huge fan of watching competitive fighting games. And I wish there was more people out there like that just fucking couldn't wait to fucking turn their stream on the weekend and really get into it. But for all those lurkers out there that are logged in to TYM and scared to say stuff, or maybe they're not scared to say stuff, maybe they just find it fucking entertaining. This has got to be one of the worst times.
This is like the darkest I've seen it.
Yeah,
ever.
It's unbelievable, man. You know, like everybody's butting heads and nobody can even just sit and talk. Dude, and like you just counterpoint is not even an option because nobody fucking reads what you're actually saying. It's just like, oh, I'm gonna make this guy look like a fucking idiot. And hey, I'm guilty of it too. I like all of a sudden I'll just get to the end of like my string and I'll be like, well, I thought I was having a good conversation and now it's like, all right, man, you know what? I'm just gonna post this and because I think it's funny.
And let me ask you this: where has the money match gone? Why do we not have money matches?
No doubt, right?
Do you remember
we have
MK9?
Huge money matches, man? That's a huge thing.
If someone butted heads with anyone,
right?
It was about the game, and it was like, you know what?
Yeah.
You want to call me out? You want a money match? It was about the game.
Yeah.
It wasn't about the backstage politics. It wasn't about
who
PMs, your friends were, the cliques, the PMs, the social group.
Crazy, man.
It was, you know what? If you want to call me out, I'll tell you what. You meet me at this tournament, we'll do a 1st to 10.
You know what I think kind of happened with all... And we're way off topic, but I'm enjoying myself right now. The longer the NRS competitive scene has gone with MK into Injustice, a lot of people, mid-tier, low-tier, and high-tier top guys, have become greater friends than they used to be. So it used to be kind of about getting together with those people that you don't see all the time and really getting to know them better and competing together and really wanting to fuck the other guy up in the game and stuff like that. And now you become better friends with them over time. It's just the way it is, man. You know, we're the same. We've become really good friends over time. We can't say... You know, we do say stuff like, oh, Mean Girls click and this and that, but how that's hypocritical of us to even say. Because we sit in a chat, the three of us, and we talk about the game. We talk about the community. We talk about other people and our feelings towards it.
Absolutely.
Like, everybody's just been... It's kind of grown and morphed into what it is.
The difference is, in my opinion, is that the higher you go in the competitive ladder, the more closed door it becomes.
Yeah.
So if you're...
Until you need, you know, troops backing you, or like, you know what I mean? Like, wow.
It's just if you're first getting into the scene, right? You actually have the most base. So there's you, and there's like, let's say, thousands of other people that are new to the game, and they're learning. Let's
say hundreds with our game.
Okay, hundreds. Without arguing numbers, hundreds.
Yeah, okay.
You hit mid-tier where you're able to beat someone who's just picked up the game pretty well every time, like very consistently. You're able to beat, you know, the average user. You're able to beat, let's say, 75% of the opponents that you come across. That's what I consider mid-tier. You're not on that high-tier echelon where you're only getting beaten by someone who's getting top 8 tournaments, but you're able to beat most people fairly significantly.
Agreed.
Once you hit that point where you're mid-tier, there's a huge divide between mid-tier and top-tier. Mid-tier is still looking at the low tiers like, yeah, you know, here, let's play sets. Let's get you up to my level. Let's play. And we put that ball into the lower tiers court and say, you know what, we'll play as long as you want to get bodied. When you're sick of getting bodied, you'll probably stop playing. But if you want to play again a day later, I'm there to play.
And you want to talk about it, and
Absolutely.
you want to go through it. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. I see that. I see that from all sorts of people on that site that still do that. There are people that are still there to play the game. There are people that are still there posting shit. You know, it's great to actually see that.
Nowadays, though, once you get past that mid-tier point, you get up into that, you know, I'm going to be super competitive.
Right.
The doors start to close. And if you're not in that circle...
Like you have it depends on what you want, though, too.
If you're a guy, and I don't mean to name drop, this is one of the very few times I'll do this in this podcast, but if you're a guy like PL, and you have trouble finding games, what does that say for our community?
100%. Yeah. How does nobody want to play PL?
Like, I don't get it.
Me neither.
I don't understand.
And then what happens is others start making fun of him because of it and shit like that, because he's tweeting... I can't get games. How do I learn these matchups? What do I do? And then it's this and that.
And then it becomes you have to suck my dick for me to play games with you. And I don't agree with that. I think that's silly. Yeah. I don't agree.
It's not even suck your dick. It's just shut the door. Let's get blocked. Let's make a list of people that we're gonna block.
Let's only play with our friends, and that way only our friends will level up.
And then when it comes to tourney time and pools.
No one wants to enter
them. Bitch about pools because we don't want to play our friends.
Yeah, but
we don't want to play the people that we fucking play all the time.
And no one in the mid tier wants to enter because they're sitting there like, well, we don't get to level up as high as you guys because you guys that just play constantly are only playing each other.
And you get fucked by the way the brackets work too.
So. And once you're seeded, you're set. And that's why when games first drop, seeding is such a huge deal. That's why when a game first drops, you will see the most travel. You will see the most...
You know what was stupid, dude? Nobody ever should have been seeded off MK9 results. That was the worst fucking shit I ever saw in my life.
Absolutely not.
I couldn't fucking believe that shit.
There was no one in that game that should have been seeded because of their MK9 tenure. That makes no sense.
It was crazy to me to see how upset some people were. I just couldn't believe it. Then you start getting some results and stuff from tournaments. Okay, then you start doing it. But the consistency just wasn't there. And these are all American tournaments. And most of them were East Coast tournaments. That's where all the biggest tournaments are. It's always in the East Coast. And the consistency for seeding was just not there. And I just couldn't believe it. Like sitting back here in Canada thinking, why the fuck would I want to travel again to this crazy shit? This is absolutely fucking insane. And
it's silly. And the fact of the matter is that when Injustice first dropped, the huge outcry was seeding. Seeding sucks. Yeah. We need a ranking system.
But there shouldn't have been any fucking seeding.
No, it should have been wiped.
Plus we had, I'm not going to say ban the testers and all that because I know a lot of guys didn't have a lot of time with the game. That's all fine and dandy. With that, we just rolled with it. But now, let's get into this just a little bit. And I'm not going to name drop a lot in a fucking podcast because the guy I'm going to talk about, I'm actually a big fan of his. I love watching him play. He plays the same character I play in MK9. 16-bit. He actually works for NRS. He's been playing MKX for we don't know how long. We'll never know how long. He's had, is he going to, self-regulate himself, or is he just going to try to get in tournaments and fucking destroy people? Can he say shit? Is it going to be 2 months in and we've had 2 tournaments after release date and he's going to be destroying people and nobody's going to want to fucking go to tournaments? To me, that's, detrimental.
Here's the thing, and it's going to be the same situation as Injustice. And if we're going to name drop, let's name drop for a second.
Yeah, well, fuck it. This is a new off-the-beat mid-tier Mayhem.
Just 16-bit for a second.
I fucking love you,
right? Anything that we say about 16-bit, I will never say he's a bad player. I can't do that because it's not true.
You can't because exactly.
It's not
100%.
True. The guy is absolutely insane at fighting games.
He can play.
Always has been. Always will.
He can play.
The guy can play. There's nothing to dispute that. And you will never see a post. You'll never see a podcast. You'll never see anything that says otherwise.
I will say this really quick. The only time I've ever been disappointed in him was the fucking MLG Grand Finals against Theo.
Yeah,
I just thought his pre-fucking game speech was man, let's hurt the game by saying I have no chance of winning.
But that being
I thought
said,
he should have been like, I am going to fuck him up. I'm going to take that fucking trident and shove it up his ass. You know, like
that being
total
said,
wrestling style, eh? Like, that would have been dope. Oh, well.
there is nothing more important at the launch of a game than getting your seed early.
Yeah.
If you can, at the start of a game's life, and this is just a tip of advice to anyone that's wanting to be competitive and wanting to get those top 8 finishes. If you want to be competitive throughout the whole game's life, you go early and you go hard and you get your perceived seed.
Yeah.
That will stick with you for a long time.
Get a top 8 in the first 3 tournaments.
And you're seeded almost for life.
Yeah. The way it works right now.
Yeah.
It's fucking madness. But...
Yeah. And that's the thing. That's the ticket. If you can get a top 8 finish within the first few months of the game, get your name out there. Oh, he's really good. If you do 2, you're set for life. Like, the life of the game.
You know what I think about that? Like, so when a game first drops and it's a brand new game, it should just be regions. Like, regional seeding. Nobody is placed in a damn game. And then start it from there. You know, and then you can build up from the tournaments and what people think are the bigger tournaments and the smaller tournaments, and you start getting your seeds from there. And I think anything less than a fucking, if it's less than, let's say, I don't know, you know, like 40 people, it shouldn't even be seeded by top 8. If it's a 40-person tournament, it should be top 4. You know, and then above that, then you can start looking at top 8, like a 64-man tournament. Okay, top 8's impressive then because 64 people, and they're probably all pretty good at games, you know. But also, when a new game drops, you get a lot of people just trying out the game. So how do you seed off of, you know, maybe there's a bunch of Capcom people that dig the game and they want to come in and check it out. How can you justify that a top 4 placing in the first 3 months is worth anything? Even 3 months more down the line. I don't know.
Better yet, though,
I don't understand.
But better yet, how in those first 3 months can you seed a tournament with 16 seeds?
Yeah. There should be a fucking you can't, man. Like I don't think you can.
Who gets those 16 seeds? Why does your tenure in Injustice carry over to MKX?
And it never should. And
never should.
And if it does, man. But you know what we're gonna see because of some of the personalities and the way people want to see things ran.
It's not even the personalities.
Well, of course he's the top player, but we don't know how he's gonna do in this game. You know, there are certain people that did not do well in Injustice up until recently.
Exactly.
But he was still considered a top seed.
Absolutely. He was.
How does that make sense?
There are players that were top seed throughout the whole game's tenure and
should
he not
have been put against Joe Schmo or maybe even fucking whoever, right? Like right off the bat, like a super good player that is a good player versus a good player because it's a new fucking game. Is it because we've played the game, we fucking know, like.
Well, let's look at it this way: if it was you or I. And let's say Canada Cup coming up in Calgary, which is going to be an amazing tournament. So happy that they're putting that back on.
It is going to be good. I actually have hoping to have a really good surprise for people.
Good.
That'll be in the coming weeks.
Let's say that MKX's first tournament was a Calgary Cup this November 7th.
Canada Cup, bitch.
Now,
it was in Vancouver last year.
Let's say that was happening. And, I'm going to travel to Calgary, which is across the entire country. You have other scenes coming from the States up to Calgary. We're all there to compete in the first ever MKX tournament. And then you get there and you find out that there's 16 players that were seeded in the first ever MKX tournament.
Right.
And you're sitting there going, God, now...
say Jay Wong was one of them. How would you feel about that?
Yeah, like now I'm in a pool with Jay Wong, 16-bit, KDZ, like these guys.
You know how I would feel about that? Fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Because the game's brand new, and I'd be like, yo, if I get out of this fucking pool, then that means a little bit more because I know they're great players, but we don't know who's great at what game, if they're great at this new game.
Well, that's
just how I feel about it.
That's the point that I was going to get across, is that you or I would sit there and go, oh my God, like I might get the chance to play 16-bit in pools.
Fucking rights, man.
Like you're sitting there, you're getting hyped, and you're like, oh, this is
That's
awesome.
Huge, right?
This is great. Like I can't, you know what, my first competitive match ever was against Maxter. My first line offline
we covered that
matchup
in another
ever.
fucking
and
podcast,
I was hype beyond hype. I was like, you know what?
You weren't like, I'm fucked. I got to play Maxter.
Well, no, don't get me wrong. I was like, I'm fucked, but I was like, you know what? I'm a good kind of fucked because really,
that's because you play Jade though.
Yeah, but I was like, I don't care because if I lose, I lost against Maxter. But what if I win?
Right.
What if I win? I didn't.
Yeah.
But what if I did? And we've lost that atmosphere. Now it's if you're a guy that's considered top tier, you're not allowed to say, well, what if I win? It's just if I lose, I'm fucked. If I lose, I'm screwed. If I lose, I'm screwed. If I lose, I'm screwed. If I lose, I'm screwed.
Yeah. That's so unhealthy, man.
It's so unhealthy.
How do you grow a community? How do you get people interested in coming out and competing and being a part of it when you're already fucked when you come in?
You don't.
Because nobody wants to see you do well. None of the top is ever going to want to see you do well. They might fucking say it, but they don't want to fucking see you do well, man.
No, because most of the people that get seeded becomes friends with each other because they only play each other.
And if you fucking by miracle or luck or whatever, or you're just, dope, great player, and you do well at one, then all of a sudden it becomes, well, who was at the tournament?
Yeah.
How many people were there? Where was it? Who wasn't there? Okay, yeah, well, that's, that top 8 doesn't mean shit,
Remember when winning a local was actually an achievement? It was like, dude, you played in a tournament in local, you played offline.
Won, dude. Right
thanks for supporting our scene. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now it's like, why would I go to a local when I'm just going to get chastised because it's like, oh, it doesn't matter, it was a local. Ha ha ha.
And I think 100%, like, I want it right now. Like, let's call it the community on this, and guys, we got to figure this out. We got to figure this fucking out before MKX drops.
We really do.
MKX, I think, is going to be fucking stellar. I think this is a game that everybody thought Injustice would be, but most of the players that had played the game and really talked about it and shit like that were like, wow, But this one is looking pretty fucking good. There, my scene in Calgary is predominantly Capcom, and there's interest in MK because number one, it's Mortal Kombat. And number two, because some of the things they're doing. Like, how do you get rid of this now just fucking dark shit around our whole community? How do you start getting it better so that people are going to want to compete in the next game?
Here's the thing, though. We as a community need to get to the point where we aren't afraid to lose anymore. Because no one should avoid anyone else because they're afraid to lose at a game. We're at a point right now where some members of this community discredit people based on matches that they lose, or they say, you know what, your opinion on your character isn't valid because I beat you with my character. And that's silly, yeah. Absolutely silly. And this mentality of you have to win all the time to be right is absolutely painful to our scene.
It's horrible. It's fucking, that's the cancer of the scene. It's the mentality that unless you are placing high at said tournament, and it has to be specific tournaments, you can't even fucking say anything about anything.
See,
that is fucking 100% insane.
It is. It used to be about if you went to a tournament and you went 0-2, but you picked up something while you were at the tournament to level up, it was worth it. And everyone congratulated you for that. If you went 0-2 in the tournament, but you went into the hotel afterwards and you took away another quarter of someone's life that bonded you before and you couldn't take that away before, it was worth it. It's like you went there and you 100%. Leveled up. And it's like, you know what? I may not be able to beat Maxter at this tournament, but I went there and I played casuals with him and I lost. But you know what? I learned what it took to get better. I knew what I had to focus on. I knew how.
And that was the other thing I was going to say. And along the way, you get to play some of these fucking awesome players that are doing things and they think the game so far ahead of where you're fucking thinking that it helps you become a better player as well. And that's what should drive you and juice you up to fucking want to get better. It should make you want to put in the time if you want to get better and you want to go and compete at these things and you want to fucking do well.
And everyone in MK9 was like really receptive of that. It was like, you know what? Let's do a first to 5. If you lose, you know what? You lost. But the next time we do a first to 5, I expect that you're going to adjust and make it harder for me.
I've seen fucking first to 5s where every match comes down to the fucking last 5%, but it ends up being 5-0.
Yeah.
So then it looks like, oh, bro, I 5-0'd you. No, like it was like, you would be like, dude, every one of those matches were awesome, man. They were so good.
Here's a perfect example. Tom Brady versus Denzel. MLG casual.
Yo.
Tom Brady 5-0s Denzel.
Right.
In a sub-mirror.
In the mirror. One of the hypest fucking sets that I've ever watched.
Now, just here's my point. Denzel, a year and a half later, wins Evo.
Right.
Okay? Tom Brady does not hold the 5-0 victory over Denzel and say, your Evo victory does not count.
Would never once see Brady ever say that.
Because, you know what, Denzel? If I met you in pools, you would not have won Evo. Your Evo victory is null.
He doesn't say shit like that, though.
No.
Because Brady is still, at the heart, after all the fucking shit that he gets, a fucking
He's a community
competitor.
guy. He's a community guy.
And he is a community guy. And he's a fucking competitor, man. I've never watched a fucking stream where I wasn't just jacked up and fucking totally geeked to see Brady get on there and do his thing.
Absolutely.
Win or lose.
Absolutely. And I miss Tom Brady. I do.
I do too, man. And you know what? I think guys like that are what is one of the things that's missing. But his voice got lost in all the fucking bullshit.
He couldn't get games.
Yeah. And
it's a shame. It's a shame.
Yeah.
Damn shame.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm hoping against hope that he's back because he is one of my favorite players to watch.
He'll be back.
And as a player who wants to keep competing, at least for MKX, that might be it. Probably going to be it for me. I got 3 kids, for Christ's sake. I'm going to be 32 in 2 days. That's probably going to be. This is going to be the last game where I really, really go competitive with shit. I love watching the games as well. I love watching streams. I love watching Ghost Battle. I love watching fucking The Break. I love watching the big majors they put on. And I love seeing people get in there and do what they can do. I love seeing guys put it all out there.
Absolutely.
It's the funnest fucking thing to do. And I just hate that somehow that site has taken a lot of that love away, from other people.
Exactly.
Or maybe it's just taken away the fact that we talk about more the shit that, that matters.
If the phrase blow up was never used on that site, it
or
would
backs
still,
blown out,
or
backs
scalps,
blown out,
or scalps, or blown up, or free.
Instead of scalps, fucking play for money. Then, let's put $50 on a first to 5.
No one will do
it.
To me,
though. Is more.
No one will do it.
Yeah, I know. To me, okay, let's do a $50 first to 5. Let's do it even more, man. I've watched fucking $5,000 Marvel matches. You wonder why people get so fucking hyped for those games?
In MK9, everything was settled in game. In Injustice, everything is settled on the forums. That's the difference.
And that's
the difference.
I think maybe
if you had a beef with any player, it was like, you know what? First to 5.
Yo.
And
100%,
if you didn't do the first to 5,
and you put something on, man. How many times did we trade money on PayPal because it was like, yo, well, fuck it, let's go right now on shitty connection,
we'll
on everything, and just because we were arguing about the matchup.
First to 10, $10, let's go.
Yeah, let's go. And just do it.
Just do it.
I don't know what happened, man. I don't know what happened.
It was the actually documenting casual matches. It was the holding those victories over people's heads. It was the censoring anyone that doesn't place well in tournaments. It just totally took the collaborative experience out of the tournaments, and it became...
I feel like our community hasn't grown.
It hasn't. It's stagnated. It's actually, with Injustice, it's actually lessened.
Which is ridiculous because that never should have happened.
Absolutely not. Injustice was the game that was supposed to bridge Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, you remember that fucking hype and shit, and then boop.
MKX, instead of being the game that took Street Fighter players and Mortal Kombat and Injustice players and bridged them together is unfortunately going to be the game that only bridges Injustice and Mortal Kombat players.
No, you know what I think it's going to do? It's going to bring back the old players that made this community so great, like fucking Conquer, like fucking Crazy Dominican, like fucking B-Wiz, like fucking all the old players that, not I'm saying old age-wise, like the guys that during the MK9 heydays would really show you what it was about, man. And these guys, you could walk up to him at a tournament, you would have no issues talking to him because you knew that he wasn't going to be in some private conversation with someone, saying some shit about you because you came up and talked to him, and then you would have to fear that he would bring it up like 6 months later.
Man,
because he saved it. He saved that conversation. You know what I mean? Like, that's fucking insane to me. It just fucking blows my mind. But these are crazy times.
It used to be really neat when different scenes would travel to different areas, and you would have the 5v5 scene versus scene.
Oh man, some of the best shit ever.
Everyone was sitting there in that room having such a goddamn good time, and no one cared what scene lost. It was like,
there was nothing online after being like, you fuck you, fuck you, fuck your mom, fuck your mom's mama. It was never like that.
After the stream, guys are sitting there shaking hands, their arms are at each other, and they're sitting there going, that was fun.
Yeah,
that was really fun.
And then it's 5 hours of fucking casuals after.
Exactly.
Let's level up.
Exactly.
Let's get better. Let's figure shit out.
Let's see why I lost that first match in this series. Like, I want to run that back. Now it's if you
I better go home. I better wait for my flight to go home.
And then get on TYM and it's so stupid.
Try to justify your loss after. Like I don't know. That's crazy.
The fact that if you now win a tournament or you get top 8 and then you lose it, you don't place top 8 in your next one, and then automatically that previous tournament that you had is now invalid.
Yeah.
It's dumb.
It's crazy.
It's dumb as hell. Why would anyone travel if they knew their placings wouldn't matter a month?
And that's why less people are traveling.
Of course. What's the point?
Yeah, it's not just... and I didn't want to fucking say a word about it or say anything. It's not just like East Coast, West Coast, or who's going to get banned from this and why this happened and why that happened. We need people to be traveling to keep this thing going.
You need to encourage people to go.
We have a huge game coming. Like, MKX could be massive. Like, I don't know why we can't get on the level of Marvel for
let's be serious.
The hype,
we failed with Injustice. Injustice was supposed to be that
100%.
game.
And if there are people out there and you're listening to this and you disagree with the fact that we fucking failed as a community, and you have to say we, because if you're gonna post and you're gonna play and you're gonna want to be part of this community, you have to take ownership as well, because we do.
We failed. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We
100% did. Well, and I'm just as guilty as everybody else. Because I got into I want to troll this, troll that, this, and that. And it at some point, it just has to stop, and we have to get back to it. Like, honestly, guys, like this, we got to get back to it.
We got to get back to what made it fun.
Yeah.
Which was just the competitive rivalries. It wasn't about holding those victories over anyone's head.
Yeah.
It wasn't about snickering behind closed doors about how free someone was, or how, you would beat this guy because you're a better player.
And you don't understand how hard, how detrimental that is when that little snickering goes on to somebody else, and then that somebody else says that to somebody else, and then this guy is already fucked. He can't get in there. He can't
and that trickles.
Get games. He can't level up. We all got to help each other, but then at the same time, we're all here to fucking kick each other's ass at a game. But yet, if you want to see the game get pushed past its limits, and you want to see great gameplay, and you want to see great tournaments, and you want to see hype moments, everybody has to be there pushing each other, not pushing each other down. You have to push each other up.
Exactly, because the fact of the matter is that all trickles down. If you're in the top circle, and you're omitting people, and you're saying, you know what? I beat you in a first to 5. You're free. Hold that on TYM for a month until you outplace me in the tournament. That
and
little
then after
guy,
6 months,
that little guy that's going to the tournament for the first time,
He ain't coming back.
Why would he come back? He can't say it was a great experience. He had a good time. He can't post anything. He's not high enough to post. He can't
He can't even look for fucking help.
He
on
can't,
how to get better.
He can't money match. He's not in your league. You're not going to look at Joe Blow and say, know what?
Big league guys don't money match though, so it's like
they're scared to lose.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example of just Toryukin. I looked at Maxter and he bodied me in pools. And after that even you were there, Jim, and I said, you know what, Maxter? Let's do a first to 5. And he was like, you know, I don't want your money. And I was like, no, shut up. I want it to be real. We're playing for money. I want you to body me. Like, let's go.
100%. Yeah.
I want you to play for money. Just play me as hard as you can. Because it doesn't help me if you're going to give me free games.
Did you ever once hear Maxter say anything about him beating you at that, ever?
Absolutely not. And you know what? No. I'm not ashamed to say that he beat me at that event.
Yeah.
I know exactly why he beat me. I know exactly... how I would have to level up.
And we need to get back to that.
We need to get back to that. We need to get back to that. There's too much ego right now. There's too much pride. There's too much, I know I'm a good player. I can't lose.
And you know
the reality is that everybody can lose.
Everybody does lose. And
Absolutely.
That's the 100% thing. And it's how you deal with it and how your knee-jerk reactions or how you lash out or how you say this and how you say that. It's how you deal with your losses is what's really going to define you in the end, I think. And if you look at it as a competitive career, and I think that's totally all right because I think that's awesome. I love the competitive side of it, but you need to be, if you're in positions that some of these guys are in, you need to be looking at growing more than just trying to hold your spot. You know what I mean?
Well, this closed door mentality is it's cutting us every day.
It has. It's not yet. Well, it already has, but you know what? That's not why we're here as Midterm Mayhem. This has been a different episode. We started out talking about something that we wanted to talk about and it got into things that are obviously relevant right now, and that's fine. I really wanted to talk about it, and
it's a crisis episode.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
This could be Midterm Mayhem, the crisis. But let's start rounding this up because we usually keep our show quite short, and
all right.
I know that you have a man's man, and we're gonna keep to the man's man. And I just want to say to everybody that I had people that don't even go on TYM sending me messages, and they found me on Twitter and shit, and saying, when are you guys going to do another episode? So it's not just TYM specific. We had actually a ton of people wanting us back, and I think that's awesome. It shows that, everybody does want to have a voice, and there are things that need to be talked about besides, the hyper top tier drama that always seems to get talked about. So
yep.
100% shout out to Canada Cup. I'm hoping to have a huge surprise to announce in the next couple weeks, which I think will be huge to people, but we'll see how that goes.
If you're an Injustice, MK, or Street Fighter fan on the West Coast,
or you Neil fan, that new game,
and you've never gone to Canada Cup, I would advise you go. Just look at the past venues. Look at the past.
Look at the players that go.
Arenas.
Why at Canada
Look
Cup?
Look at the team tournaments. And if you tell me that you don't want to go to that, you're insane. If you get to go to an event where you get to watch Team Japan against Team USA.
This year there's no international. That's what they added more games because there's no international. Because they have the Masters Series in 2015.
Oh, yes.
So this is basically to get one more Master, and Lapchi was basically, I think he was just like, fuck it, let's just run it. Let's do it again, man. Because Lapchi is number one. He just loves fighting games.
Lapchi
for them to give
right now,
to give Injustice a fucking spot is unbelievable.
I'll say this.
And to me,
Canada's TOs know how to run tournaments. Let's just put it that way. Whether it's Neo Russell or Lapchi, they know how to throw a good event.
And all the directors there at Canada Cup, but them giving Injustice another shot is huge. These guys, they don't have to.
No,
no,
they don't.
They don't have to at all. because here where I live, it's not huge. It's not a big thing, but every little local that we had there when it was hot and the game was hyping, we made it good and we had a lot of fun. And they're going off that. They're going, okay, you know, guys, like, can we put on a tournament? You put on a good show. We're gonna add your game.
Well,
like, all right.
The name Lapchi itself sells, and if you want to go be, you know, among the best of the best, you want to see the best Street Fighter players. You want to see some
the class of the world
phenomenal
comes to Canada Cup for
it's
Capcom
insane.
games, but for NRS, everybody's like, it's a major for everybody else in all other fighting game communities, but for NRS, it's like,
if everybody
else is fucking there.
If you're in Seattle. If you're in Western Canada, if you're anywhere on that West Coast,
if you're in anywhere and you want to,
you're not considering Canada Cup, I have 3 points to give you right now.
And if you are, go ahead.
The first one is 18 is the drinking limit. The second one is you're looking at one of the finest tournaments. You're looking at you're looking at the premier Canadian tournament.
Yeah,
you're looking at being
the biggest
in one of the most hospitable nations in the world with some of the absolute most phenomenal players in every game attending. If you don't want to be there and be at that venue and see the things that you're going to be able to see there, you're insane. And you should not miss it for the world.
Yeah, and like I said, we're 100% gonna run a side MK tourney because a lot of people have already asked me about it, and I 100% want to do that, and we're gonna do it. Bipolar is gonna help me do it, and Canada Cup's cool with it. There's an area, bring your own console shit. If we don't get the numbers that we want to play MK, we could even do it in my house. Like, honestly, my wife and kids are gonna go stay at their mother-in-law's for the weekend. So that brings up my next point. Like, honestly, I have a lot of room. If you're someone that I don't know, but you're part of the NRS community and you're just wanting to come to a great tournament, you fucking hit me up and I can house you, save you hotel costs.
If you need lodging, Jimmy's there.
And it's not, I've done it before. So 100% we're going to stream the whole Mortal Kombat tournament. We're totally inspired by Pig and Claude. I thought that was one of the best things that ever come out. I thought that was one of the best things ever, man, that they did. That was so good. It was so awesome.
Side tournament was amazing.
Watching those matches. Yeah, it was amazing. Guys. It was such a cool thing to do and to run it and to still play in it, both of them. I thought that was great, too. Fuck Kenshi 2014. So, yeah, stay tuned. Stay tuned to the thread and stay tuned to our show. Our next show shouldn't be longer than a couple weeks as long as we can find, find the time to do it. I'm hoping to have a really big announcement that might entice some more people to want to come out. So, yeah, with that, that's enough about that shit.
Is it time, Jimmy?
It might be time, my friend.
Is it time?
It is time. Let's hear it.
Let's do this.
We don't have theme music yet, but eventually I do want to have.
The theme music gets edited in. Oh, we have theme music. And
okay, dope. Okay, so here comes the theme.
He's a man, such a man, such a man. He's a real man's man.
This week's Real Man's Man is everyone who is still on TYM and cares about injustice, Killer Instinct, and Mortal Kombat 9. Kudos, shoutouts, props to those who can rise above the pettiness and remember that what brings us all together in the first place is our competitive spirit. Thank you to everyone out there who remembers Mortal Monday, who remembers the CD Junior Chronicles, who remembers the Down Forecast, who remembers all the user-generated content that was provided when the scene was a scene. This week's Real Man is everyone who rises above pettiness and remembers that we are all people. We are all human. And we are all equal. This week's Real Man's Man is someone who not only casts aside the class warfare bullshit, but embraces their own personalities and has the confidence to know that their life is not directed by these games, but by the friendships we make while playing them. It doesn't matter if you are the best with the character, the worst player in existence. What matters is that you play, love, and support your game. So, in closing, thank you to everyone who plays this game. And thank you to all those who have every intention of being the best person that you can be. Thank you.
You make me fucking cry, man. That was great.
That's my basic, that's just my basic English skills, man. That's my basic English skills.
So just one little last thing. A lot of people give us, well, not a lot of people, a couple of people kind of shitting on us and stuff like that, and thinking that we do this show, that we've only done 3 episodes, that we do it just to try to stay relevant or try to have a voice and all this stuff, and trying to spam our rhetoric and tripe and all this stuff around, and try to get people to think our way and stuff like that. And that is 100% not why we do this show.
No, we want you to come to your own conclusions. If you think that we're full of shit, tell us.
Tell us. Yeah, man.
Tell it. If you think that, we said something that you really resonate with, tell us.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to discuss or debate anything that we said, please do it. We're not here to make up your minds for you. We're not here to push you into any sort of direction. We're here to just tell you that you don't have to dick ride.
Yeah.
You can be any player that you want to be. You can have any attitude you want to have. You can say anything you want to say. And anyone that tells you any different, whether it's on the forum, at a tournament, anywhere, is a dickhead. Exactly.
And, hey, like, the message that I always try to get out to your tournaments, get out to your locals. Keep it going, guys. We got MKX coming, and I think it's going to be fucking amazing. By everything that I've seen, I think it's just going to be 100% unbelievable. I'm so fucking excited for that game. And that's why CharlieMurphy is in stasis. He couldn't handle the hype.
That guy is just like...
He was literally... he was blowing orgasms. He was jerking off without jerking off. So let's like... He was fucking losing it. And I can't wait, honestly. Once I get a release date, I can literally plan my life around a couple of the tournaments next year. I didn't travel this year for Injustice, and next year I want to go, and I want to meet people, and I want to play great games, and I want to meet great people, and I want to see how good I can be, and I want to push myself to the limit, and I want to have a ton of fucking fun.
And you want to lose. You want to level up.
I'm looking forward to it.
I want to get
forward to
bodied. I want to know where I need to improve. Like, if I go to a tournament or if I play an online set and I don't lose, I don't learn anything.
Yeah.
So to all the people out there that are sitting there with losing records, or you just can't, win a set, keep playing.
Yeah.
It will come. You're not losing. Well, you are, but you're learning with every loss. Hopefully. If you have the right attitude, you are learning with every loss.
Yeah, and that comes down to another show that we did. Like, why are you there? What are you doing there? Like, what are you looking for? What are you trying to gain from it? And the biggest thing I'm trying to gain from it is fun and meeting great people. And I've done that, and I want to continue to do that. And give us your thoughts about the show. We're gonna do Saucy Jack next, hopefully, unless he's tied up with matters of world defense.
Too. Yeah, I hope.
He will, man. Saucy Jack will do it.
I hope so. And the one thing that everyone has to understand is that nothing that we ever say, whether it's on a forum post, on a podcast, in a Skype chat, in a private message, is ever personal.
Yeah.
If
the 100% hardest thing is to type things and get it across the way you're actually saying it in your head.
Yeah.
I've read some of the shit that I've typed like 2 days later and been like, man, that sounded so much better in my fucking head. Okay, now I see why this guy replied to it the way he did. It's just like, fuck.
I've said this numerous times. If I'm sitting there debating with you on a forum, don't be surprised if a week later I'm sitting there defending the same point of view that you had. Because if I agree with it, I agree with it. I don't care who you are. If I disagree with it, I disagree with it. I don't care who you are. I just believe in making my own decisions.
Yes, and everybody If you got a thought and you got an opinion and you're part of the community, whether you just maybe you play the game for fun and you just don't even give a shit about competing, fucking voice it. Voice your opinion on what you think, man. The more opinions, the better. Like it's. This isn't a fucking, this isn't China. This isn't a dictatorship. It's not,
and it should
one
never
person
be,
rules all, and
should
it
never
should
be like that. No,
it's ruled by a fucking committee. You know what I mean? So
it's a laissez-faire. We all organize.
Do we have time to do a Jimmy Potato game?
I think we do.
I don't know, man. What do we have for time?
We got about 3 minutes.
Fuck. All right. Let's just do a couple.
We've never gotten to do the Jimmy Potato game. That's like our
well,
gimmick.
we only have 3 minutes.
It's always cut for time. So let's do it. Let's do the game.
All right. Would you? Okay. And if you don't do it, your best friend has to die. Okay. Oh no! Wait. Okay. What would you rather do? Lick a homeless dude's asshole that hasn't had a shower or a bath in 20 years, or have Michael Jackson 3 days before he died fuck you in the ass.
And I have to pick one or the other?
Yeah, and if you pick the homeless guy, your best friend has to die.
If you pick the dude. Well,
these are tough questions. These are the questions.
Does my best friend get to know the sacrifice that I made, or do I not get to tell anybody?
Yes.
Oh, he does get to know?
He carries your torch forever.
Okay, well then, dude, I'll take the dick up the ass. I would do that for my best friend. Yeah, as long as he got to know what I did for him. If you were like, nah, he never gets to know, I don't know.
Yeah, he would totally know.
Yeah, no,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
I like that. That's good.
I would take the dick up the ass.
Would you? Okay, who would you fuck? Rosie O'Donnell, Exit to Eden years, or Queen Latifah, coked out, huge, really overweight years? And no, there's no stipulation. I just want to know who.
Important question: is Rosie O'Donnell on top?
Well, if you're fucking her, oh jeez, yeah. All right. Well, yes.
Oh, fuck, Queen Latifah.
Nice. That's a good answer.
Yeah, no, I would do Queen Latifah.
Yeah, totally.
She got sass, man. That's kind of sexy.
Yeah, but when her coked out years was bad though.
I don't care. Maybe she was like super wild and she was coked out. Who knows? But
all right.
I just
all right. Here we'll end it with this one. Who? Okay. Here's what happens. And okay. I'm a little bit drunk. You can fuck Kate Upton. You know who Kate Upton is, right?
Yeah.
Or 16-bit fucks you in the ass. But if you choose to fuck Kate Upton, I die. I die.
Fuck you. I'm doing Kate Upton, man. I'm sorry, but listen, man. Michael Jackson. I will take a Michael Jackson dick for you, but I will not pass up the opportunity to fuck Kate Upton. I'm sorry. I love you, but I don't love you that much. Seriously. I would expect.
Yeah. All right.
Let's put it this way. If it was you and it was the other way around, I would be upset if you didn't fuck Kate Upton. I'd be like, dude, what are you doing? My life is not worth not fucking Kate Upton. Come on now.
Yo,
what am I ever going to give you that's better than Kate Upton's vagina? Let's.
Yo, I know, right? Yeah, you could just die. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I like the answer. That was probably the right answer. All right, let's end with that. And shout outs to King Hippo. You're still invited to be on our show. I would really like to have you after Saucy Jack. And I don't know what else.
I want to nominate.
The what?
I want to just send out an invite to a guest to come on our show.
Yeah. All right.
I want Shadow Beats on here.
Yo, yeah, I'd be into it. After King Hippo.
Yeah.
He's still around.
Does does not
Shadow
get
Beast
enough
is still
credit.
around.
That guy in this community does not get enough credit. And if
We
he was
should-
on the
we
show,
should get him to do our song.
I would, dude. He's done many songs,
Yeah, we should get him to do ours.
and I would love for him to get the credit that guy really does deserve in the NRS
I
community.
agree. And he is a great player.
Oh, dude, he's just a fantastic person.
Yep, 100%.
I don't even care how good he is as a player. He's just an awesome guy.
Yeah. All right, quit with your dick riding. Get out there, support your scene, support your tournaments. Don't be a dick.
And
mid-tier mayhem out.
and fuck Kate Upton. We're out.
Yo, for sure.